The subject of alien abductions has been a source of intrigue and mystery for decades. Many people have reported being taken against their will only to be returned with memories of strange experiments and bizarre encounters. Allagash alien abductions. In 1976, four friends in their early 20s went camping in rural Maine. On the second night, they noticed a very bright light, but no more than that. On the third night, they decided to try night fishing. In the canoe, they again noticed a bright light. One of the men used a flashlight to direct the light as an SOS signal to the traffic light. The light then expanded and enveloped all four men. It was the last thing they remembered. They woke up in their camp, not remembering what eventually happened to the light or how they got out of the water. The fire they had lit just minutes before they left, intending that it would still be burning when they returned, had completely burned to the ground, reduced to smoldering embers. The aftermath. Jack Weiner was the first to start having nightmares. In these dreams, he saw creatures with long necks and large heads. He saw the creatures examining his arm while Jim, Chuck, and Charlie sat on a nearby bench, unable to intervene. The creatures had large metallic glowing eyes without eyelids, and their hands looked like insect hands with 4 fingers. 3 other men had very similar dreams, with short mental fragments of that night at the lake. In 1988, out of curiosity, Jim Weiner attended a UFO conference organized by Raymond Fowler. Weiner later met with Fowler and recounted his strange encounter. The investigator was disturbed by Jim's story, especially by the fact that it happened in front of several witnesses. Fowler suggested to Jim that he and others undergo regressive hypnosis. After the sessions, it was revealed that all 4 men had retained memories of being abducted and subjected to humiliating physical examinations, including skin and fluid samples. The description of the aliens was consistent. The 4 men, being artists, were able to make detailed sketches of the objects, the ship, and the instruments for the examination. Chuck Ruck added that the aliens' test area looked like a veterinarian's office with a silver desk. He also recounted the odd fact that he had great difficulty focusing on the aliens. When he tried, he couldn't give them an accurate image. He compared it to trying to tune a fuzzy radio station. After psychiatric examinations, all 4 men were found to be mentally stable and all passed lie detector tests. Gandia McKay's abduction by aliens. In a chilling story involving 3 different people, a 22-year-old girl named Amy was abducted right out her break room window by some flying machine. Amy's husband, Keith, had already gone to bed, while her friend Petra remained reading in the other room. Petra was suddenly interrupted by a blinding light coming from the living room and the sound of breaking glass. A rectangular beam of light streamed into the room, and, according to Petra, she saw the light pull Amy out the window, apparently still asleep. Then Keith woke up, and he and Petra searched the house and the neighborhood for Amy, who was nowhere to be seen. Eventually, Keith called the police. Amy was eventually found miles away, with strange markings on the inside of her thigh and a strangely abundant growth of body hair. Why would an alien want to do that? Although the exact motives for these abductions remain unknown, there are several theories that attempt to explain why these events occur. One possible motive for alien abductions is scientific experimentation. It is possible that aliens use humans as test subjects to gain insight into human biology and behavior. Aliens may be studying our physical and mental characteristics to gain insight into our species. They may also attempt to alter our genetic code or introduce technology into our bodies. It is possible that aliens are using us as living test tubes to better understand our species. Another possible motive for alien abductions is to gather information and data. Aliens may collect data about our culture, our technology, and our way of life. This may be for the purpose of understanding our species and our planet, or for the purpose of gathering intelligence for possible invasion or capture. Aliens may also be gathering information about advanced technology that could be used to their advantage. It is also possible that aliens are abducting humans for the purpose of creating hybrids. They are trying to combine human and alien DNA to create a new kind of creature. This could be an attempt to use humans as a type of slave or to create a species that is stronger and more capable than humans or aliens. Finally, one of the most frightening possibilities is that aliens abduct humans in order to feed on them. This could be in the form of eating human flesh or drinking human blood. It is possible that aliens collect our biological materials in order to sustain themselves or their species. Although these are only theories and speculations, it is clear that the motives for alien abductions remain a mystery. Much remains to be discovered about this strange phenomenon, and the truth may be stranger than anyone has ever imagined. I also want to tell you about a very interesting event that happened in 1970. The time was 1645, Wednesday, January 7th, 1970. The place was in Järvi, 15 kilometers northwest of Heinola in southern Finland. Lumberjack Arno Heinonen, 36, and farmer Esko Viljo, 38, both active skiers, were skiing. They came down a small hill to a clearing where they usually rest. It was sunset and there were a few stars in the cloudless sky. It was very cold, -17 degrees Celsius, and windless. They had been standing in the clearing for about 5 minutes when they heard a rumble and saw a very strong light moving across the sky. It came up from the north, made a wide circle, and headed toward them from the south, descending as it approached. The faint buzzing grew louder and louder. The light went out, and then they saw a luminous red-gray fog swirling around it. Puffs of smoke rose above the top of the cloud. Both men stood perfectly still, staring into the air, and said nothing. Soon the cloud descended to a height of 15 meters, and they could see what was inside it, a round object, flat underneath, metallic in appearance, and about 3 meters in diameter. Heinonen, the round craft hovered perfectly still above us for a while a buzzing could still be heard, quite low. Then the huge disk began to descend along with the red-gray fog, which became thinner and more transparent. It stopped at a height of 3 or 4 meters, so close that I could touch it if I held out a ski pole. The ship was completely round. As it leaned toward us, we could see that there was a dome on its upper side. There was a sort of raised part along the bottom edge, on which were 3 spheres or domes, equally spaced apart. From the center of the lower part protruded a tube about 25 centimeters in diameter, from which suddenly appeared an intense beam of light. I don't think we said anything to each other. We were totally amazed. We saw the light move several times, then stop and intensely illuminate an area of snow about 1 meter in diameter, around which there was a dark, almost coal-black edge 1 centimeter wide. I stood perfectly still. Suddenly I felt as if someone grabbed me by the waist from behind and pulled me back. I think I took a step back, and at the same second I saw the creature. He was standing in the center of the beam of light with a black box in his hands. A yellow, pulsating light burst out of the round hole in the box. The creature was about 90 centimeters tall, with very thin arms and legs. Its face was as pale as wax. I did not notice the eyes, but the nose was very strange, more like a hook than a nose. Its ears were very small and tapered toward its head. The creature was dressed in something like a jumpsuit of light green material. On its feet were dark green boots above the knees. There were also white gloves up to the elbows, and the fingers bent like claws around a black box. The symptoms he described are similar to those after radiation exposure. A strange thing happened in June 1970 when both witnesses visited again with a Swedish journalist, a photographer, and an interpreter. The men's hands suddenly turned red, and Heinonen had to leave the place because of a severe headache. Further evidence. On the same day and at the same time as the skiers, 2 other people saw a bright light in the sky. The farmer's wife Elna Sitari from Järvi, about 15 kilometers from Järvi, was on her way to the barn when she saw a strange light in the direction of Järvi. In Paso, 10 kilometers north of Järvi, the son of a family was looking for firewood when he noticed the light phenomenon. It was 4:45 p.m. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and write what you think about it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support is very important to me.